Ukrainian intelligence services achieved a major counterintelligence breakthrough in March 2025 when they uncovered a sophisticated Hungarian spy network operating in the Transcarpathia region. The security service of Ukraine revealed that Hungarian intelligence had been running operatives across Ukraine's westernmost oblast, gathering information about military installations, border security procedures, and ethnic Hungarian communities living near the frontier. The spy ring included both Hungarian nationals and Ukrainian citizens of Hungarian ethnicity who had been recruited over several years. According to SBU statements, the network focused on mapping Ukrainian defensive positions along the Hungarian border and monitoring the movement of military equipment through the region. Hungarian operatives used their ethnic connections and language skills to blend into local communities while gathering intelligence about Ukrainian security arrangements. SBU counterintelligence officers spent months tracking the network before making arrests in coordinated operations across Transcarpathia. The investigation revealed that Hungarian handlers had been using cultural organizations and business connections as cover for intelligence activities. Some operatives posed as journalists covering ethnic Hungarian issues, while others worked through legitimate businesses that provided access to sensitive border areas. Ukrainian authorities discovered that the spy network had been particularly interested in NATO military aid shipments passing through the region. The operatives photographed weapons convoys, documented logistics routes, and reported on the timing of equipment deliveries to Ukrainian forces. This intelligence gathering posed significant security risks as it could have enabled hostile forces to target supply lines or predict Ukrainian military capabilities. The SBU alerted European security services about the Hungarian operations, prompting diplomatic expulsions and security reviews across the region. Several European Union countries began investigating whether similar networks operated within their territories, leading to enhanced screening procedures for individuals with connections to Hungarian intelligence services. The revelations strained relations between Budapest and Kiev, with Ukrainian officials demanding explanations for what they characterized as hostile intelligence activities. Ukraine's intelligence capabilities have expanded dramatically since the conflict began, transforming from a primarily defensive organization into an active intelligence service operating across multiple continents. The security service of Ukraine now maintains stations in 16 countries, collecting information about threats to Ukrainian interests and sharing intelligence with allied nations. Ukrainian operatives work alongside CIA officers in Africa, coordinate with MI6 teams in Southeast Asia, and provide technical expertise to international operations. The SBU's cyber warfare units represent perhaps Ukraine's most sophisticated intelligence achievement. Ukrainian digital specialists prevented attacks on dozens of critical infrastructure targets across Europe in 2025, disrupting malware campaigns targeting nuclear facilities and blocking attempts to manipulate election systems. These cyber units operate from hardened facilities across Ukraine, employing thousands of specialists trained in advanced digital warfare techniques. Ukrainian intelligence services use artificial intelligence and satellite surveillance to analyze communications patterns and identify potential threats before they materialize. Machine learning algorithms process vast amounts of data to detect suspicious activities, while satellite imagery helps track military movements in hostile territories. Facial recognition systems deployed at border crossings alert authorities to known operatives attempting to enter European Union countries. The transformation from intelligence consumer to provider fundamentally altered Ukraine's relationships with Western allies. NATO members now request Ukrainian assessments before making major security decisions, while the Pentagon established a permanent liaison office in Kiev to coordinate intelligence sharing. British intelligence officials travel regularly to Ukraine for briefings on Eastern European security threats, and French counterintelligence teams participate in joint operations led by Ukrainian coordinators. European governments launched investigations into security screening procedures following the Hungarian spy revelations. Parliamentary committees examined how foreign operatives obtained access to sensitive information over extended periods, revealing systemic weaknesses in vetting procedures that relied too heavily on document verification rather than ongoing behavioral monitoring. These reviews led to comprehensive reforms of background check processes for foreign nationals working in sensitive positions. Ukraine's intelligence success demonstrates its evolution into a regional security powerhouse despite ongoing territorial challenges. Ukrainian services coordinate multinational operations spanning multiple time zones and involving dozens of partner agencies. They maintain secure communication networks connecting intelligence stations from North America to Asia, processing information that affects global security decisions. The counterintelligence operations employed sophisticated surveillance techniques, including behavioral analysis, financial monitoring, and communication interception to map entire networks before taking action. Ukrainian teams spent months documenting operative activities, identifying handlers, and tracing funding sources before coordinating arrests with partner nations. These operations required precise timing to prevent operatives from destroying evidence or fleeing to safe havens. Ukrainian intelligence capabilities now provide early warning systems that detect emerging threats before they mature into active operations. Their networks offer real-time intelligence about hostile activities across cyber, economic, and traditional espionage domains. NATO commanders consider Ukrainian intelligence assessments essential for understanding the threat landscape in Eastern Europe, making Ukraine's services an indispensable partner for nations facing similar hybrid warfare challenges. The strategic implications extend beyond immediate security concerns, as Ukraine's intelligence success has positioned the country as a key player in regional security arrangements. This enhanced role reflects broader transformations occurring across the region, where traditional security assumptions are being challenged by new realities that require innovative approaches to conflict resolution and regional stability. Turkey achieved what many analysts considered impossible when the Kurdistan Workers' Party declared a ceasefire on May 12, 2025, ending 4 decades of armed conflict that had claimed over 40,000 lives. The announcement came after months of secret negotiations mediated by Norwegian diplomats, with PKK leadership agreeing to begin disarmament procedures in exchange for expanded cultural rights and political participation for Turkey's Kurdish population. The ceasefire agreement includes provisions for PKK fighters to surrender weapons at designated collection points across southeastern Turkey, monitored by international observers from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Turkish authorities establish processing centers where former militants undergo background checks and participate in reintegration programs designed to help them transition to civilian life. The disarmament process began in June 2025, with the first groups of fighters emerging from mountain hideouts to surrender their weapons. European Union officials expressed cautious optimism about the peace process, while emphasizing the need for sustained commitment from both sides. The European Parliament passed a resolution supporting Turkey's peace efforts, but called for robust human rights protections during the reintegration phase. Human Rights Watch issued statements welcoming the ceasefire while warning against potential abuses during the disarmament process, citing concerns about adequate legal protections for former fighters. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan announced constitutional reforms aimed at addressing Kurdish grievances that had fueled the decades-long conflict. The proposed changes include recognition of Kurdish as an official language in regions where it represents the majority, establishment of cultural autonomy for Kurdish communities, and creation of special economic zones in southeastern provinces to stimulate development. These reforms require parliamentary approval and face opposition from nationalist parties that view them as concessions to separatist demands. The peace process created immediate economic opportunities in southeastern Turkey, where decades of conflict had deterred investment and development. Turkish officials announced plans for a reconstruction program targeting provinces most affected by the insurgency, including infrastructure projects, industrial development initiatives, and educational expansion. International development organizations expressed interest in supporting reconstruction efforts, with the World Bank conducting preliminary assessments of investment opportunities in the region. Kurdish political parties gained unprecedented influence in Turkish politics as the peace process advanced. The People's Democratic Party, which represents Kurdish interests in parliament, became a crucial partner in coalition negotiations following the ceasefire announcement. Their political leverage allowed them to secure commitments for increased funding to southeastern provinces and guarantees that former PKK members would receive fair treatment during reintegration procedures. Security improvements in southeastern Turkey allowed military resources to be redirected toward external threats and regional power projection. Turkish forces previously deployed in counterinsurgency operations could focus on border security along the Syrian frontier and maritime patrol duties in the eastern Mediterranean. The military restructuring enhanced Turkey's ability to respond to regional crises while maintaining domestic stability through peaceful conflict resolution rather than military suppression. Regional powers closely monitored Turkey's peace process as a potential model for resolving their own ethnic conflicts. Iraqi Kurdish leaders sent delegations to Ankara to study Turkish negotiation methods and reintegration procedures. Iranian officials expressed interest in Turkish mediation techniques, given their own challenges with Kurdish populations in border regions. Syrian Kurdish groups requested Turkish assistance in their negotiations with Damascus, recognizing Ankara's newfound credibility in peaceful conflict resolution. The ceasefire success depended on sustained international support and monitoring to prevent violations by either side. NATO allies provided technical assistance for weapons collection and storage procedures, while European Union funds supported reintegration programs for former fighters. United Nations observers documented the disarmament process to ensure compliance with international standards and provide credible verification of progress toward lasting peace. Turkish civil society organizations played crucial roles in supporting the peace process through dialogue initiatives and reconciliation programs. Universities in southeastern Turkey established Kurdish studies programs, while cultural organizations promoted understanding between Turkish and Kurdish communities. Religious leaders from both communities issued joint statements supporting peaceful coexistence and condemning violence from any source. The economic impact of peace became evident as tourism increased in southeastern Turkey and international businesses expressed interest in previously unstable regions. Agricultural production expanded as farmers gained access to areas that had been restricted due to security concerns. Transportation networks improved as military checkpoints were reduced and normal commercial activity resumed in border regions. Turkey's successful peace process enhanced its regional diplomatic standing and created opportunities for mediating other conflicts across the Middle East and Eastern Europe. Turkish negotiators offered their expertise to nations struggling with similar ethnic tensions, while international organizations sought Turkish participation in peace initiatives elsewhere. The transformation from internal conflict to regional mediator demonstrated how successful peace processes create positive spillover effects that extend far beyond national borders. The interconnected nature of these regional transformations would soon become apparent as diplomatic and economic relationships began forming between nations undergoing similar transitions, creating unexpected partnerships that challenged traditional geopolitical assumptions.